Okay, this one we found on Facebook. We have pulled a sample and sent the results in. No match. Attempts a repair and sent in video. Roof is roughly 23 years old on a 30-year shingle. This is what the carrier said. Carrier doesn't consider repairability since the repairability of any given roof is directly related to the amount of wear and tear on the roof. Wear and tear is not covered. I'm just going to stop there. It's a very long post that goes into other things in administrative code, but I want to stop there for a moment. Repairability is not directly tied to wear and tear. Some things about repairability are, but not all things about repairability are. If you've never repaired a roof before, you probably wouldn't realize this. But if you've ever attempted to actually remove a shingle and put one back in, you'll find out that a roof that's brand new is less repairable than a roof that's 7 years old, for example. Because the seals are too strong. You can't separate them without causing significant damage to the shingles. Mat transfer. And when the shingles get really old, then they might become a little bit more brittle and less able to be plied around or bent in any way before they just crack. And then it's less repairable again. There seems to be this window between like 7 and 14 years where it's the most repairable, in my opinion, based on my experience. And I've done a lot of repairs in my experience. But to say that it's all tied to wear and tear is ridiculous. That's just not true. It's just not true. There are many things that can cause a roof to not be repairable over one other roof. But age is not one of them. All right, I'm going to keep going. Consequential damages. Concerning the brittleness of the shingles and consequential damage you have mentioned in your documentation correspondence, you are not fully recognizing Utah Administrative Code. If not for the age, condition, deterioration, or brittleness of the roof, the repairs could be made without causing consequential damage. Thus, the consequential damages you are stating will occur are the result of wear and tear deterioration of the roof and not wind. Therefore, as wear and tear is excluded by the policy and are not included in the amount of loss as outlined in the supplement. All right, I have a feeling this is farmer's insurance. So in the farmer's insurance policy, it says somewhere there, after we pay for a settlement loss, we do not cover as a part of any covered loss any consequential damages that are the result of a condition that is excluded against, and wear and tear is in that list. So any consequential damages that are the result of a condition of wear and tear, they do not owe as a part of any covered loss. Now, I want you to understand, we're talking about causation here. This is a very policy-centric issue. Are the repairs being made because of wind damage? Yes. And if wind damage is the proximate cause, then in order to make a reasonable repair of that wind damage, we have to be able to replace until we are not leaving the property in worse condition than it was before we started the repairs. And if the damages that occur are unavoidable in the replacement of the damaged property from wind, then that is a direct loss. That's direct loss from the wind event. You would not have had to make repairs if not but for the wind event. The additional damages would not occur if not but for the repairs. You see how it's part of the same chain of events? That makes the cause of loss wind. Now this says consequential damages, and that is a term that has a lot of issue because in case law in most states, consequential damages are indirect losses. But then in the state of Utah, it looks like they used the words consequential damages in their statutes, kind of like Ohio did, and kind of screwed it up for everybody. So this administrative code says, when a loss requires repair or replacement of an item or part, any consequential physical damage incurred in making such repair or replacements not otherwise excluded by the policy shall be included in the loss. So they called it a consequential damage, which means that farmer's policy, because it says otherwise excluded in the policy, that makes the farmer's policy actually apply that way in that state. That language will apply differently in different states. So now, repairs, any damage is unavoidable during those repairs, according to the administrative code, the way that it's interpreted there says that consequential physical damages are a part of the loss. So the state muddied the waters on what that term means. I think that makes it ambiguous. It could be determined to be direct physical loss, as the state has written, and it could also be determined to be indirect loss, as many case law has written. And so if it's indirect loss, then that would be to some other part of the property or some other type of coverage like ALE benefits. But if it's going to be applied as a part of this loss, any unavoidable damages that occurred during repairs might be considered consequential direct physical loss. It depends on how the courts are going to apply this. I think this needs to be challenged in some way to make a determination. The state needs to decide how it's going to interpret the term consequential. So, beyond that though, what reason was the damage occurring? Was it the result of a condition of age, or was it the result of a condition of something else? If it's brittleness specifically, that is age-related. If it's mat transfer, that's not age-related. For farmers, they don't owe for it if it's a result of a condition of wear and tear, if the state is going to apply that language in that way. But they still would owe for it if it wasn't the result of a condition of wear and tear. So if the consequential damages are occurring as a result of a condition that isn't on that list, the seal is just too strong, then the repairs would still have to be paid for appropriately. I just gave you a lot to work with. I hope that helps.